Hey friends, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about what we did for week 8 for tin whistle for CC. This week we talked about dynamics. My name's Emily and I tutor the Abecedarians young apprentices age 4 to 7. So I opened up the class saying we're going to talk about dynamics today. Can you say dynamics? And the kids repeated after me. This is a good tactic I use in the class to keep the kids engaged. I just have them repeat keywords that I say, and usually it brings their attention back to the class if they're getting distracted. So our director gave us these papers to help guide us in the class. I mainly used the Foundations curriculum book for the class, but I did take a few things from here. So I'll put the info for this in the description. So dynamics in music. The dynamics of a piece is the variation in loudness between notes or phrases. And so when you listen to music, the loudness or softness of the music can express different emotions. So I asked the children, do you have different volumes of your voice depending on your emotion? Like if you're angry, would you be loud or quiet? And they said loud. And then I asked them if they could think of other emotions that they would express loudly. And one said excitement. And then I asked if they had heard loud music, what kind of emotion they felt like the music expressed or what it made them feel when they heard loud music. And one said, what did he say? He said action. And I said, yeah, that's like being excited. And so then I asked them, what emotions do you feel when you're talking in a quiet voice? And one said peaceful, and another said sad. So that was really good to make those connections between dynamics and emotions in our personal life and then how it can sound in music. So then I told them, when you have a soft sound, it's called piano. Or if it's really, really soft, it's pianissimo. So our director provided this for us as well. And if it's loud, it's forte or fortissimo. So we went over those terms when we were talking about the emotions in our voice. We also talked about how our tin whistles only have a certain range of dynamics they can play. So they can only play between piano and forte. If we played at pianissimo, we really wouldn't be able to hear what we were playing. Or if we played fortissimo, it would squeak and not make like a pretty musical sound. We also had flashcards my director had printed off that showed these letters for the different dynamics. So I was able to hold those up while we were talking about the different dynamics to get the kids used to what it looked like. So we have a folder with the song in it. So we opened up our folders to the Mary Had a Little Lamb song. And then I held up the dynamics flashcards while we sang to that dynamic. So I counted the kids in, 1, 2, ready, sing. And the first time, I told them ahead of time, we're singing Mary Had a Little Lamb in piano. What does piano mean? It means soft. I was holding up the flashcard while we sang it. And then at the end, I did this to finish the song, to close it out. And then we did that as well for forte. We sang through the song to forte. And then we sang the song and we switched different dynamics during the song. So we started off piano and we went to forte. And then we also talked about mezzo piano and mezzo forte, and mezzo kind of sounds like medium or middle. So this is like a medium piano or a medium forte. So that's like kind of like a normal tone, a normal volume. Then we talked about the proper position for playing tin whistle. So we sat up straight. The chairs are too tall for the kids, so we did not do our feet on the floor like the book says. And then I showed them how to properly hold a tin whistle. You don't hold it down like this. You don't hold it up like this. You don't hold it straight out like this. You hold it at an angle like this. And you want it to rest on your lip. So we practiced that. We also reviewed our finger positions. That I reminded them that they wanted to have the pad of their finger over the hole, not the tip of their finger. And we looked at the little donuts that we made on our fingers when we had our fingers on here properly. So then we went over the positions of our fingers on our D scale finger chart. We went all the way from C sharp, which is no fingers, all the way up to D, which is all the fingers. Last year, because the kids were so little, I didn't push them to go this far because a lot of them were having a hard time just fitting their 3 fingers here. But this year, because the age range is wider in my class, we went all the way up to the D. And then we practiced C sharp, B, A, C sharp, B, A over and over again because those were the ones that are in our song. So then we played in unison. We played B in unison, and we played that at different dynamics. So we played it at piano and forte. So for that, again, I counted them in. We played it for 4 counts and then we stopped. So that was good practice for lifting our flutes, watching the conductor, and then putting our flutes back down. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention I created a short here on YouTube for like classroom management tips for tin whistle. I mentioned in my last video I brought in washcloths for our tin whistles to rest on the table when we're not using them so they don't roll off, and it's also a designated area for the kids to see to place their flute. So that really helps out. So when I do this, the kids place this back on the washcloth. So then we took turns where each child played by themselves. They didn't like get up in front of the class, they stayed seated, but they played whichever note they wanted to. I let them decide. Most of them chose B, one brave child chose A, and we just did that for a 4 count, a whole note. And then if the other kids were getting antsy, I told them they could look at the Mary Had a Little Lamb song and practice playing it, moving their fingers based on the charts on the Mary Had a Little Lamb song. The last thing we did, our director had printed off some flashcards, like smaller ones with the different dynamic symbols on there, so each child got one, and I put the first one up there at the top of the pianissimo, and they took turns putting their flashcards down in order. And so then again we talked about what each dynamic meant, and that was it. That was the end of class. So it kind of goes by fast, and you can really play with dynamics between the singing or playing on the tin whistle. So I wish you luck this week. I think you're going to do great. It's not as scary as it seems. And if you do tutor more often, if you tutor next year, it'll be the same stuff each year. So this is only my 2nd year tutoring, but I'm already feeling a lot more comfortable with it just because we did it last year. So in my last video, I encouraged you to remember that we're focusing on musical theory and not actually on mastering the tin whistle. So just keep that in mind as you teach your class. We're focusing on musical theory. All right, well, I'll see you guys next week.